Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about the grayscale trusts, but this time it's for the week. It's not for the max profits. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so start at the top and work our way down. You guys already know we start with LTCN because this is the most heavily traded, I believe, and also the largest market cap one. Um, and Litecoin is also having speculation of potential a spot ETF being approved. We'll have to wait and see about that. Um, I I mean, it could happen, I suppose, with Trump's pick on the SEC, but we'll have to wait and see on that. I don't really think the Litecoin ETF is as big of a deal as the Bitcoin and Ethereum ones because they are kind of the market movers here, but we'll just have to wait and see. So, anyways, let's start with LTCN. So, we did get finally a weekly confirmation outside of this big, ugly looking channel thing here that we told you guys twice. We've seen this exact same pattern, and what did it do? It broke to the upside. And it looks like history is repeating here with a third breakout to the upside. But more importantly than that, we also have the histogram on the MACD moving up. Okay, these bars are getting bigger after this golden cross. That's always a good sign. That means that the bullish momentum is picking up. And on top of that, the volume bars are also going up as well. So you can see we're getting increased levels of volume here. Um, you have like some 1.25 million for this week, or these weeks back here, compared to the almost 2 million for this week. All of that tells me likely this thing is going to start ramping up. It's probably going to head much higher next week, would be my guess. Plus, there is also the what looks to be just about to get that golden cross. You can see all three of these EMAs here touching. On the weekly time frame, this takes a very long time to play out. Okay, usually you get a golden cross and a death cross maybe like a handful of times a year on the weekly time frame because it is such a high time frame, but that should show you how significant it is, and how basically we probably are going to have a lot of upside here for many weeks. Again, the last time we got a golden cross was like somewhere back here, uh, right around October of 2023. And I mean, I can't see it when it's this zoomed in, but to be able to see the price here, I have to do this. So you can see it was like somewhere around 190 days of upside. Um, Again, that may not be exact, but they gives you guys basically like about a 6 month window of upside here is potentially what we could be looking at. Just wanted to point that out. So again, if you did not accumulate in here in this zone, there is other opportunities in the markets. BCHG looks like it's going to break out, but it's still relatively cheap in my opinion. Um, I mean, yeah, a lot of these are breaking out. GBAT still looks like it has a good opportunity here. You guys are probably wondering my opinion about this, I'm sure. FILG is still relatively cheap, although not as cheap as it was down here. Again, sometimes even with as much experience as I have, I can tell you guys right now, I do also sometimes hesitate when I see these prices down here. The difference between smart money and dumb money is when smart money sees the opportunity, they take the trade knowing what the likely outcome is, knowing based on the statistics what's likely going to happen, regardless of how they feel about it. Okay. But I myself have been guilty of this too. On occasion, some of these dips, when I see them, may not necessarily buy them. Okay. And again, we may not be looking to buy them at that particular asset at those prices anyways. So that could be the case too. But yeah, regardless, there is other opportunities in the market. Okay, like GSOL, I know it looks disgusting, but in my opinion, I think that's probably the best opportunity right now because it has been beat down so much. Again, if I go over SMCI, I'll tell y'all right now, I do know about the backstory of SMCI, but it's about to get a golden cross here. It just got oversold. This is not exactly like GSOL, but you can see the dump here was equally heinous and disgusting to the downside. And ever since it hit that low, it's already gone up a massive 150%. Now, I want you guys to check this out, okay? If this thing goes back to the highs, which I do suspect it's going to absolutely 100%, that is a 600% gain. From the low to the high, a 6x on a stock, not a cryptocurrency. Okay, I want to point that out. So I'm going to do the same thing here real quick. I know this is kind of digressing a little bit from the point of the video here, but 85% down, right? Roughly about the same as SMCI, but check this out. From the low here, if you had bought the low, just to get back to the highs, 568% gain. It's funny how similar those two look, even though I'm sure they're probably not correlated, but the markets do often rhyme, but they don't necessarily repeat. So I really want to point this out to you, okay? If you had managed to catch these lows on GSOL down here at 73, and if for whatever reason it does hit this macro target, you just made a 3,000% gain, which is a 30x. Now, can I guarantee that's going to happen? No. But I will tell you guys, catching the lows as low as humanly possible, especially the oversold signal on the weekly, which is extremely rare to happen, is a rare opportunity. It really is. Okay, so any pullback here on LTCN, maybe around 1750. That's what we're looking at. At this point, it's so close to this resistance. I'd be personally setting my sights on the swing high up here, 540. Once we get past this zone here, we'll talk about higher levels above 54. But 25 to 27. I mean, if you're a little sketchy, feeling a little sketchy about whether this thing's going to rip or not, you want to take profit at 25 to 27. Okay, fair enough. I would understand. So 210% gain here. BCHG, we literally said we were thinking about getting into this one down here, and then we hesitated. Good example of it could happen to the best of us, right? And then boom, took off like a rocket. If we had bought down here, we would already be up about 54%. So whoopsies is what it is, right? Okay, so we got a confirmation close above the structure level here. I would say anywhere around the $9 area at this point would be a good buy. I'd be setting my targets somewhere between 18 to 24. You guys can decide what's best for you. So 170% gain here. The immediate level is going to be 10.25 to 12.5, just so y'all know. HZEN, nice big pullback here from the top of this resistance zone. Is that a shock? Not really. They're usually, not always, but pretty often there's usually some kind of pullback once you get to a previous resistance zone. It is known as structure for a reason, okay? Because it takes a while to flip that zone from whatever it is to the opposite, whether it be support to resistance or resistance to support, especially on higher time frames. It doesn't always come that quick. You know what I mean? All right, so we got a break above structure here, clearly a break above structure. But not quite above the zone yet. So any pullback probably around $5 would be a good area. I'll just give you guys the levels. You can make up your mind about it. So $6.90 to $8, and then $11.30 going all the way up to 12.5. 155% gain here at ETCG. This one is also pushing pretty hard into the structure here, but again, it's gotta get a close above. At least a candle close above 1980, and I would say we're good to go at that point to really start flying to the moon to this kind of $40 area up here, but we're not there yet. So we are above this buy zone, but again, we are not above these wicks up here, so I would still say anywhere between 13 to maybe 16, somewhere in there could be a good buy area. So the next zone above that, 1870 to about 20.25, and above that one, you got 40 all the way up to 51. And again, personally, if I was just going to hold through here, I'd probably just hold up to 50. That's how I would play it. You guys, of course, are free to do what you want to. I mean, 13 to 50 is still like almost a 4x. So, excuse me, 275, 280% gain here. ETH. This one looks very bullish too. I mean, clear, nice little rounding pattern here to potentially a break of structure coming maybe even as soon as next week. So we're not above structure yet, still stuck in between structure and the buy zone. So I'm going to go ahead and say that still 2350 to about 2850 would be the buy area here. You have the cup and handle target. The target for that, or cup and handle pattern, the target for that is up at 53. So this move would be roughly about 130%. GBAT, we did get a close above this zone. So the next thing we're looking for here is a break above 1850. If we get any candle close above this roughly 1830 to 1850 area, I would say that's pretty much green lights to be heading to the all-time highs. if there's a green candle above that level, could it be an overcut and then it just dumps straight back down? Yeah, it could be, but at this point in the cycle, I would say that's probably not likely. So if we do get a close above there, I would say there's a very high probability, not a guarantee, but a high probability it's probably going to shoot straight up to 32. Okay, so because again, we're stuck in between the structure level and the zone here, I'd be looking for this green box still to hold as support. So 8 to 10, all-time highs at 32, 290% gain. Just so y'all know, when these things do eventually start breaking to all-time highs, which I'm sure they're going to do, a lot of them, if not all of them, we will be covering the Fibonacci's in the same video as these going forward. Instead of doing them separately, the attention to detail on the actual week-to-week price action may not be as significant because, again, if we're in price discovery mode, we got to think about levels as they are created out of nothing, okay? Because whatever you see on the right of the chart here does not exist yet. So again, we have to think about it like that. Okay, FILG, I'd be looking probably for a close above 140. Again, I don't think this candle really counts because it's a bearish candle. It closed down here. The green candles closed at the top, whereas the red ones closed at the bottom. If you guys don't know how candlesticks work, you might want to do your research. So any candle close above 140, I would say we're probably going to launch to the highs here. So again, we're in between structure and the support zone, but the EMAs are above support. So in this case, I'd say the EMAs would be the buy area. It's about 54 to 65 on FILG or FILG, whatever you want to call it. $400 is the all-time high. So the measure move here, about 600% gain. GLIV. So again, I'd probably be looking for, I would say maybe a close above 43.50. Again, I'm aware this is a red candle. The close is lower, but it's just the psychological nature of it. When you get a candle close above another candle body, that usually, for some reason, clicks in an investor or trader's mind as, oh, it's a green light. It must be going higher, right? It's funny how our mind plays tricks on us, even though technically if the candle closes above here, it is actually still a break of structure. But, just to be on the safe side, we'll say if it gets above 43.50, then that's pretty much green light to head to pretty much all the way up to all-time highs and probably pretty fast too. Okay, so close above the structure level here, this one at least. So any pullback would be a good buying opportunity in my opinion. 1950 here. $80 is the high, so potentially a 4x move, 325% gain. All right, G-Link, same thing. So above the EMAs, above the zone, but not quite above structure yet. The structure level, I would say the next major level I'd be looking at would be around this 140 area. We're already kind of testing this right here, this $100 area, which you can see these candles at. So I'd say that's not really relevant. I'm probably looking at about 140, a close above there, and we should push to highs. So buy zone here is 65 to 84. All-time high at 220. So maximum potential move here, 230% gain. GSOL starting to show some signs of life. Very little signs of life, but life nonetheless. You can see that clearly somebody was buying this dip down here. It dipped down below this triangle, and they're like, nah, not today, son. You ain't shorting these markets today, bro. You about to get wrecked. You better close out your leverage position right now before you lose your shirt and your wife and everything else, right? I joke about these things, but actually these dumps they're pretty heinous. They can be disgusting, and they kind of leave you with that sinking feeling. But regardless, somebody was buying that dip in there. That's what that long wick to the downside means. So it's still within the bear flag. Do I think it's going to break down? Probably not. I mean, at the timing of the cycle that we're in right now, the probability of some major breakdown, unless crypto has a major pullback, which I don't see happening this month, pretty slim in my opinion. But regardless, if you're worried about it, okay, the buy zone still remains the same, so anywhere from 84 to 170. And then the all-time high would be up here at 580. So this move would be about a 580% gain. GXLM, man, this thing just does not stop, does it? Wow, that's pretty amazing. Okay, so we haven't made it above structure yet. That's going to be about 65. Any candle close above that, I'd say we're launching to the next zone. So we're still below it. So I'd say any pullback around that kind of 36 to maybe, it's hard to say exactly where it could pull back. I'd say maybe anywhere between 35 to 40 would be a good area to buy. I mean, again, there was weeks and weeks you could have bought down here at these lows, but if you didn't catch it, well, there's no reason to FOMO, honestly. I mean, there's always opportunities in the markets. I personally would not be chasing this one. Of course, you guys are free to do what you want to. So 93, 94% here. Mana, this was one of only 2 of these trusts that were actually red on the day, shockingly. That's how bullish the markets were today. In case you guys were wondering, and again, I wasn't actually going to cover this because pretty much already told you guys my thoughts on this, but I suspected that the unemployment was going to come in mostly flat. It did. I mean, it ticked up 0.1%, but again, you got to understand, when the unemployment rate is at all-time lows, when inflation is all-time lows, it will still fluctuate around, okay? Just because it gets a little tiny blip to the upside does not mean, oh God, the sky is falling and inflation's going to 1 billion% and everybody's going to lose their jobs. No, guys, they really try to, big money really tries to screw you and screw with your mindset and your emotions on little things like that, okay? Been in the space long enough to see exactly how all of this stuff works. I can tell you guys right now, even at the lows, they will still bob around a little bit, okay? That's normal. It's supposed to happen. So non-farm payrolls, it came in much larger than expectations. I actually thought it was going to be a little bit less than 200K, but it's actually a good sign. That means that the economy and the job market is still very strong. That's what we want, right? Soft landing. Okay, so mana, not quite above structure here. A break above 20, I'd say about probably 2150. Any candle close above there, I would say, is green light to probably start heading straight to 32 here. Get above that, then we're talking about all-time highs. So the EMAs are holding as additional support below this zone here. So anywhere between 17 and a quarter to 20, I would say, is a good buy area at this point. Of course, you could have got it for $7 all the way down there at the lows, but a lot of people thought these things were dead and they were going nowhere. I wasn't going to say I told you so, but now here we are and they're starting to moonshot. So 295% gain. Zcash. So we did get a close above this huge accumulation channel. I told you guys that likely that's probably what this is. We saw the same thing back here, literally history on repeat. So if you get a pullback, maybe somewhere around that $6 area, I highly doubt it's going to get back down below there at this point. So I'll just give you guys the zones here. So you got basically $8 all the way up to $9.50, and then you have 14 to 17.50. If I was going to buy even at $6 here, I'd probably be waiting for a higher push. So about 180% gain on this one. Okay, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.